Robert Pattinson, good to be in your company.
Thanks a lot.
Now, I was just kind of thinking about the character of Edward. He's really grown and changed over the last few films. And did you kind of think before starting work on Breaking Dawn, what aspects of his character I'd like to develop that we haven't seen before?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought when I did the first one, I was trying to think of an arc for the whole thing. Excuse me. Wow, I don't know what that was. And I kind of thought at the beginning he's almost older, even though it doesn't really play that way.
He's kind of like Mr. Darcy in a way from Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
In that kind of vibe.
I mean, but I was thinking, he just loosens up as the series goes on and almost becomes more like a normal human. Like, I mean, you end up being an early 20s kind of guy at the end. I mean, that was the intention. I don't really look like a normal guy in the movie or behave like one, but that was what kind of my intention was. I mean, just to be a little less melodramatic as well. And so you get that kind of 25 minutes at the beginning of the movie where it's Edward and Bella sort of having a normal relationship, which you never really see in the rest of the series.
But he's kind of the happiest, I suppose, as well, from what we've seen, because he's finally gotten the girl too. So what was that like, kind of playing?
It's nice. I mean, it's kind of it's a strange thing about the series, but like whenever they're together, there's always some kind of terrible event that's happening. I mean, they've always got to say like, "What are we gonna do?" Like, I mean, it's like they don't really have a relationship, and so just to do that thing where they're like doing nothing. I mean, even though they're kind of it's kind of the most important thing in their relationship. But when they're just hanging out, it was kind of fun to play that because I'd never played it before.
Because even like when I initially heard about some of the ideas for Breaking Dawn, I kind of thought, Stephanie Meyer sounds bonkers. Like, it does, like, the vampire cesarean and the imprinting and the whole sex scene as well, It just seems like it's kind of crazy. When you initially read it and thought, what has happened to this woman?
I remember hearing, because I didn't read the book for ages, so I just heard about it when it came out. It's kind of funnier when someone just summarizes it for you. It's like, what? Like, and he eats the baby out, and then Jacob falls in love with the baby. It's like, okay.
Is this a snuff film?
It sounded really hilarious when he summarized it. But it's kind of. But at the same time, it's really difficult to think of how to tie up all these, because all the storyline threads are so huge, and so it's like, how do you think of a way to just end them all in one book, and also kind of have a happy ending for everyone as well?
True.
I mean, because it would have been kind of weird if it's like, either Edward and Bella like have a happy ending, they have a kid, and Jacob's just like forever depressed. I mean, it's like you kind of liked Bella a little bit, but not that much, and that's the end of that. You've got to find another girlfriend. Like, have a spin-off series.
Well, actually, speaking of spin-off series, is it Midnight Sun? Was this a treatment that Stephanie Meyer had written about it's basically Twilight from Edward's perspective? Yeah,
it wasn't a treatment. It was like the actual proper book. There was like 160 pages of it.
Now that the series is coming to an end, if you were ever obviously to revisit the character of Edward, is that something that you might think of doing if Summit Entertainment wanted to do it?
I mean, I prefer to do a sequel, because I mean, after Breaking Dawn, I mean, you can imagine. I mean, the craziness that would be the one after Breaking Dawn. Also, I couldn't imagine because Breaking Dawn, you've kind of covered all the lunar eclipse, the eclipse, the new moon. I mean, you'd have to do like, I don't know, Twilight Saga, like.
I know, it's a bit of a head
summer
scratcher.
solstice or something. I don't know. I mean, like, Edward and Bella get divorced and Jacob gets her pregnant or something.
But I was just also with the different directors that you've worked with over the series as well. Like David Slade brought a real darkness to it, and then obviously Bill Condon, I know, was being attached over the years to try and come in at one stage to do New Moon. How did you find working with him? Because
I had no idea that was the case.
Yeah, supposedly they kind of wanted to go for him initially, but obviously he wasn't available. So I think like Summit had always had an earring from him. How did you find working with him this time out? Because it's 2 films this time.
Yeah, no, I mean, the most amazing thing about him, he didn't go completely crazy. I mean, it was such a long shoot, and he stayed very, very patient with us the whole time, and it was hard as well. I mean, we were doing 6-day weeks for like 15-hour days for 6 days. I mean, just months and months and months. And especially some of the stuff in the second movie, we were in this big cattle warehouse with just fake snow and green screen for about a month and a half or 2 months or something.
Wow.
And no one knew what was going on. There were about 85 people in the scene, and he kind of, he still stayed pretty good humoured about everything. But he definitely does have a sensitivity towards the material, and he was always really nice to us at the beginning. He was very aware of, because we've done 3 movies, everyone's very invested in their characters, and he came to us to say, like, what do you want to do?
Well, that's very respectful.
Yeah, and he was, he didn't want to come in and just be like, I want to change everything. I mean, I basically want to recast you, play it different, which would have messed things up.
Robert, I've got to wrap up, unfortunately. Great talking to you, and best of luck with the next 2 movies.
Thanks very much.